Greetings, I'm Kai Wen Ho. This video is a video made for the Communication for Social Change subject for Masters in Communication. In this video, I'll be discussing about the need for attention on the social issues. Child marriage has been a rising issue happening in several parts of the world in the recent years, including Malaysia. Coming from a Malaysian background, I feel that I can relate to this issue as I feel concerned of the happening of the case in my home country. Here's a general introduction to Malaysia's marriage law enforcement. There's two different courts that enforce the law of marriage for both Muslim Malaysian and non-Muslims Malaysian. The civil court enforces marriage law for non-Muslim, which states that the minimum age for individual to get married is 18 years old, whereas under the Sharia court, boys can get married at 18 years old and girls can get married as young as 16 years old. However, under the Sharia court, individuals can get married below the minimum marriage age with the approval of the Sharia court, which overrides the civil law. Recently, there was an outrage of an issue on the marriage between a 41-year-old Malaysian man and an 11-year-old Thai girl. This incident happens in late July this year at Kelantan, Malaysia. The marriage caused a huge debate in the Malaysian community due to the concern of underage marriage. Focusing on this case, we could use the participatory action research called the PAR cycle to identify the key issues here. According to Greenwood, the participatory action research is a methodology that acts as a cyclical approach that attempts to involve a wider diversity of stakeholders as active participants in the process of both research activities and efforts to act for a positive change. There are several steps in the participatory action research cycle, including analyzing, strategic design, development and testing, implementation and monitoring, and lastly, evaluation. To tackle the case, we need to identify the key problems and issues through research. The marriage of these two individuals had caused a huge conflict, as it is against the civil law for an underage girl to get married, as logically saying a young girl do not have a mature mindset towards marriage, and furthermore, she is still a child herself. With the intention in designing a strategy, we should think about what are the causes for underage marriage in Malaysia to avoid child marriage for a better development for children. According to the Star Online, Dr. Iswari, who is a public physician, cites that poor enforcement of policies and laws pertaining to child marriage and the lenient attitude of religious and community leaders that allow young girls to marry is also a problem. In that respect, we can determine that poverty and religious reasons are one of the aspects that leads to the early marriage of children in the country. In addition, she added that child marriage could also affect the child mentally, physically, and emotionally. She states that child brides are at greater risk of experiencing dangerous complications in pregnancy and birth that can put the mother and child at risk. So, what is the key problem here? I have identified two concerns here. Firstly, should underage marriage be allowed in Malaysia? Secondly, what should be the legal age for marriage considering different aspects such as the psychological aspect of an individual? Using the participatory action research cycle, I reached out to the participants group to collect data on their opinions of child marriage. The two main groups is divided into young generation, mainly millennials, and individuals who are parents themselves. As part of the methodology for this cycle, I'm using the focus group methodology. It is found that the opinions provided by these two groups are significantly different. Upon finalizing the collected data, we shall design a suitable strategy to address the child marriage issue in Malaysia. What can we do about it? So, I came up with specific objectives for the project. Firstly, we have to determine the suitable legal age of marriage. Secondly, we need to identify and monitor the psychological aspect of a child if he or she is capable of handling marriage. After that, we test and trial on individuals the two proposed solutions for this issue. Firstly, to come up with a system of psychological tests which can be done upon site observation. The test will observe whether an individual is capable of handling marriage if we were to accept child marriage despite the religious aspect. Secondly, to implement adoption options instead of child marriage by carrying out awareness campaign in cooperation with the authorities to solve child marriage. As mentioned earlier, child marriage can affect a child's development in terms of physical and emotional aspect. Therefore, we can create collaterals to highlight the issue on the disadvantages of child marriage and provide adoption of financial funding towards the case instead of having child marriage as the only option, which can also lead to child raping or abusiveness. To wrap up, using the participatory action research, we are able to identify the issue and key questions by data collection, and through that, to design a suitable strategy for the affected community and to address this social issue. That's the end of this video. Thank you for watching and have a great day ahead.